HLP 3533 Applied Exercise Science Digital Portfolio by Stacey. In short, golf is a game with a simple concept. Strike the ball with a club into a hole, fewer shots wins. However, golf has a plethora of rules, which can make the game daunting to those wanting to learn. To be specific, golf is a ball and club sport in which a ball is struck from a small area known as a teeing ground across the fairway to another dedicated area called the putting green. From here, players are to putt the ball into a hole located somewhere on the putting green. The object of the game is to get the ball from the teeing ground into the hole on the putting green in as fewest number of strokes possible. A round of golf consists of 18 holes. Golf is famous for expecting its players to show proper etiquette when playing. The following points are not rules, however some would consider them to be more important. As previously mentioned, golf is a simple game in principle, but the rules can be complex and tedious. The two most important rules, however, are to play the course as you find it and to play your ball as it lies. By sticking to these two simple rules to begin with, players should be able to successfully play a round of golf. However, the other notable rules are as followed. If you lose your ball, replace it and add one penalty stroke to the score. If you move your ball at rest, accidentally kicking or knocking it, add one stroke to your score. You are not allowed to break or move any objects you find on the course, sticks or leaves, etc., even if it interferes with play. However, foreign objects such as cans and rakes may be moved without penalty. There are well over 100 rules in golf, however, these few has covered the basics. Just quickly at the equipment, we're looking at the clubs. Was the driver used for hitting off the tee. So wood that can be also used for hitting off the tee and off the fairway. Have the iron, have lots of different types of irons used from hitting all distances all over the course. So we have a wedge used for chipping and to get out of the bunkers. And lastly, we have the most important, the putter. And here we're just having a look at the golf balls. And here, golf tees. The early 2000s was a crucial time for professional golfers as players began to commit to physically preparing for every round. Improving balance, posture, flexibility, power, strength, core stability, and cardiovascular fitness were important for long-term success and injury prevention, and players finally started addressing this. Physical training is now an important part of a golfer's training, and modern day players are leaner, stronger, and more flexible than the previous generation. Studies should suggest that golfers can, by improving their physical fitness, consistently replicate the correct swinging motion throughout a full round of golf. Therefore, players are able to be consistent and more precise throughout the full 18 holes. Golf is a very demanding game, physically as well as mentally. Golf has always been referred to as a leisurely sport and it has never been considered a physically demanding sport, although recent literature opposes this. Wales research shows that golf not only requires precision and complexity during the golf swing, but also the need to create an explosive power up to 40 times per round on a typical course, with amateurs being able to reach clubhead speeds of up to 160 km per hour. However, it is not these precise and powerful movements we are interested in. It is the cardiovascular demands of walking 18 holes with a pull cart of clubs. Wells estimates that walking a full round with clubs is up to approximately 8.2 metabolic equivalents. From the literature and personal experience, it is obvious that the predominant energy system is aerobic system, as golf can take up to 4 hours and players are consistently walking, covering up to 15 kilometers per round. Several studies conclude that a higher cardiovascular system directly relates to improved golfing performance, no matter if you are elite, semi-professional, collegiate or amateur. The data for the exercise physiology component was collected via an Apple Watch Series 3 using the inbuilt heart rate monitor. The participant was a 54-year-old male with an estimated heart rate of 166 beats per minute. The data is as follows. The following two graphs show the participant's heart rate through the 18 holes of golf, as well as all throughout the day with each specific time labelled. So this is just a brief overview of the heart rate data collected. So as previously mentioned, the estimated maximum heart rate for the participant was 166 beats per minute. However, the average heart rate during golf was 94.5. That equals to 56% of the max heart rate. Therefore, that means the participant spent the majority of time in the very light range of heart rate zones. However, throughout the day, the participant recorded 131 beats per minute, and the lowest got down to 50 beats per minute. However, this was quite significantly lower compared to everything else, so it's estimated that this was a possible error in the machine. So from the data collected, it shows that the novice golfer spent the majority of the time playing in the very light heart rate zone range. This data would indicate that the golfer has a good level of physical fitness, as they are able to keep a calming heart rate. As golf is a precision sport, a lower heart rate directly correlates to improved golfing performance. Researchers found that semi-professional middle-aged golfers normally operate around the 52 to 78% maximum heart rate. Obviously though, this is depending on the course conditions, for example if it's flat or if it's hilly, etc. So moving on to the biomechanics of golf. So we're going to be looking at putting. The importance of putting in golf is unmatched. It's on average responsible for 40 to 50% of shots during the rounds, according to studies. It can be often the difference between winning and losing a game. It can completely change if a putt is sunk or if an easy putt's missed. It just completely changes the game. So I'll be breaking down golf putting using the 6-step biomechanical process. The first step involves determining the objectives of the skill. Second step is to note any special characteristics of the skill. 3 is to study top flight performance and compare that to that of an amateur. Number 4 is to divide the skill into phases, and 5 is similar, it's dividing each phase into elements. And finally, step 6 is to understand the mechanical reasons each key element is performed as it is. So step 1. So the objective of putting is obvious. It's to putt the ball into the hole in as few strokes as possible once on the green. Power and accuracy are the two elements which influence whether or not the ball goes where intended. And when the greens are difficult to read, i.e. excessive slope, the importance of power and accuracy is amplified. As every putting situation is different, it's impossible to identify the correct amount of power and spin must be put on each putt, because they're all just completely different to one another. Golf is a sport played outdoors in all conditions. When putting, players must take into consideration multiple different cues. This can include rain, wind, slope of the green, especially if the surface is wet and soft or dry and hard. All these different factors influence the player's ability to read and play the shot. This means putting is an open, non-repetitive skill. Players must always adapt the way they think about shots due to the different reads of the greens. Also, one of the most unique aspects about putting is the limited movement involved. During the strokes, players are only meant to use their shoulders and arms to move. This means the chest is acting as a fulcrum or pivot point. Here I'll be studying and comparing 4 different aspects of the putt: head position relative to the ball, stability of the lower body, transfer of weight from front foot to back foot, and uses chest as the fulcrum. I'll be using this video analysis by using the software Coach's Eye. Aspect 1, head position relative to the ball. This concept is quite simple and about keeping balance by having the head directly over the ball as seen by both the professional and the amateur. By keeping balance when putting allows the putter to have the greater chance of putting the ball in the desired direction. Aspect 2. Stability of the lower body. This aspect is similar to the first one, as it is about keeping balance and maintaining a good putting posture. Research shows that a good putt only comes from the shoulders and arms, and the rest of the body should maintain as still as possible. Looking at aspect 2 focuses on how still the legs are during putt. This is shown better in the professional as the amateur slightly moves knees through the backswing. Aspect 3. Transfer of weight. As previously stated, research around putting focuses on minimal movement outside of the shoulders and arms as a key indicator in putting success, which is why it's interesting to see an obvious shift of weight from back to front foot in the amateur's putt when compared to the stillness of the professional. The professional's body never touches the blue line, indicating that their centre of mass does not drastically change throughout the putting stroke. However, you will see the amateur's arm reaches and touches that blue line, meaning that their body has shifted weight and undesirably they have lost some sort of balance, whether they can feel it or not. Aspect 4. Chest acting as a pivot point or for outcome. As the arms and shoulders are meant to be the only parts of the body moving during the putt, the chest acts as a fulcrum. When watching the professional putt the ball, it is obvious to see nothing moves outside of the red rectangle, and all movement revolves around the lower chest. While the majority of the amateur's movement comes from within the red rectangle, as it's meant to, there is a lot of other obvious movement also, meaning it will be difficult for the amateur to consistently replicate the same putting stroke. The golf putt is a minimal skill, therefore there are a few key elements: the setup, the backswing, and the follow through. Each of these key elements directly flows from one to the other. The setup position allows the golfer to get in a stable and balanced position so minimal movement of the lower body can occur. With the feet spread roughly shoulder widths apart, the centre of mass will be in the optimal position around the abdomen. The pendulum-like motion begins with a backswing, with the chest acting as the fulcrum. The distance of the backswing is dependent on the amount of force the player wants to put on the ball. A greater backswing leads to greater potential energy to apply force to the ball. The backswing obviously directly leads into the downswing or the follow-through. Players will not be generating any extra force during the period, only using the kinetic energy built up via the backswing. And the importance of a straight and consistent follow-through is crucial to putting performance, as a plethora of research has suggested. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've learned something new.